I want you to look here for a moment. You see these two A goals, setting goals to do what you know you can do. Do you know your paradigm will definitely try to steer you there? It does not want you missing. It does not want you changing. Now, this is almost insidious when you think about it, but the more you study it, the more you're going to recognize it. The people you're surrounded by, your families, your communities, your culture, whatever. You've got to understand that every family has a culture. Every country has a culture. Every company has a culture. Culture is group habit. It's a paradigm. It's exactly what it is. Now, we mix with a group of people. Let's suppose there's 7 of us. We're all hanging out together, always. We're always together. And I decide I'm going to pull away from this group. Now, I didn't sit down and say, I'm not going to mix with these people anymore. In fact, the idea of not mixing with them anymore didn't even enter my mind. I just decided I was going to start doing something. And because I started doing it, the doing of it, the it part, was going to pull me away from this energy. I would not be in harmony with this energy anymore. I'd be moving into a different vibration. Now, these would be my friends, my family, my relatives, whatever. We've been together, hanging out for a long time. If you were to connect them to a polygraph and really suck the truth out, and ask them, do you want Bob to win? They'd say, absolutely. We really like Bob. Yeah, we really want him to win. But you know something? They're not going to help me. They are not going to help me. As a matter of fact, from an unconscious perspective, they will put up all kinds of fences to try and stop me. People do not resist change. They do not. That is a false concept that people buy into. People resist being changed. You decide to change, you will not resist it. But if I decide you're going to change, boom, a wall comes up. This is all happening on an unconscious level. The average individual doesn't really understand the name of the game. So you want to try and remember this. If I leave, I am forcing change on you. You have to adapt to my absence, and you will not want to. Now, this is really an important point. It's an important point that most people never really give any thought to. They just don't. When you go to what you think you can do, you're pulling away from that group. And you get up here and understand this. You're on your own, baby. Because that group is not going to help you. And I'm going to tell you something else. When you're playing around with what you think you can do, there's no inspiration in it. You're not going to be inspired. This is not what you want. It's what you think you can do. You're using your best mind. You're using your best thinking. You're pulling in all the IOUs. If she pays this, if he does that, if they will here, if that goes there, then I can do this and I can see. I think I'm stretching. I think I'm stretching. Hell, I'm not stretching at all. I'm just dealing with stuff that I know is here and there if it will come together, if I can get it together. You're not going into the unknown. All that is possible up here, never receives serious consideration. Now, you can say, oh, I have been in here. Maybe. But I guarantee you there's people here that haven't gone there yet. Why wouldn't we? Well, there's your answer. It's paradigms. Paradigms will block you every damn time. And you see, it's pretty cool just sitting rapping with each other and reviewing this information. Well, I've seen some of it before, and, I know that. Well, I'm going to tell you something. I know for a fact you're doing nothing compared to what you're capable of doing. I know that about me, so I know it about you. Now, I've been studying this every day, longer than many of you have been living. It's very rare people figure this out, what we're teaching. You're not going to find what we're teaching. Oh, you'll find some of the lines and you'll hear some of the books, not. But it's only on a very rare occasion anybody would be inspired to figure out what I was inspired to figure out. And that is because I was such an enormous loser. I mean, I was the poster child for losing. And I did for a long time. Until I was 26. So do you see, I guess from the time, I don't know, you're 14 or 15, you're sort of figuring out that you can or should or something with your life. So from then until I was 26, nothing. Dumb jobs. Didn't even do a good job on dumb jobs. I think I was so shocked when I started to realize that this wasn't a fairy tale. This was not a fantasy. See, when Ray told me you can have anything you want, I really did not believe that. No, how the hell am I going to believe that? I had absolutely no evidence. I just couldn't buy into it, that I could have what I wanted. My goodness. But I had never read anything. I had never read anything. I was going to say like this. I'd never read anything. I didn't read. I could, but I didn't. Then I started to listen to the condensed narration of this book. Earl condensed the book and narrated it onto a record. Now, I had never heard anybody talk like he was talking. I used to think if God had a voice. Man, he had great pipes, that guy. I had to figure out what happened. I was doing everything right, but I didn't even know what I was doing. But here I am. I had literally bags full of money. In England, how many are from England? Anybody? Well, they're always on the fiddle. You know what that means. How many know what that means, on the fiddle? It means you're screwing around with the government. You're not paying your taxes. You're dealing in cash as much as you can. And so people would come in, I was selling business, and they would pay cash. A little discount, give me cash. I didn't have to report it, they didn't report it. And I'd just take handfuls. I remember Joe and I, we used to take handfuls of money out of a bag and just go down and play roulette at the Playboy. We didn't even care if we lost, because we knew where to get more. We knew where the money was. Until one day, something clicked, and I thought, this does not make sense. This doesn't make any sense at all. And then I started to figure out what happened. Now, it took a number of years, about 9.5. When I got the dots to connect, all I wanted to do was teach it, because I started to understand this is where it all started. I made a decision. I made a decision that regardless, if Ray said do it, I would do it. It was that simple. It was an irrevocable decision, and I never went back on it. Now, I'm going to tell you, that was really strange. I truly believe at times we're guided, I do. But because I'd never made a decision like that before in my life, to do anything that was shrouded with some kind of degree of intelligence. Now, this is what I decided. I decided what I really wanted. Now, we're getting you to decide what you want. We are asking you to sit and state what you want to the table, and the table then is going to help you word it. Now, this sounds so immature. It sounds so silly, but I can assure you it is not silly. In the long haul, it's going to make one heck of a lot of sense to you. Everybody at the table helps you word it so that it's worded correctly. So that when you say, this is what I want, boom, everybody sees the same picture. Now, I don't know how many times I've told you that in here, but I know I've told you a number of times. Do you know when we start snapping, that's where you're going to be going from table to table, and everybody's going to go to every table, and everybody here is going to know what you want, and everybody here is going to offer to take their contacts and help you get what you want. But I'll tell you something else. Somebody's going to sit down and say, this is what I want, and everybody's going to think, what do you mean? Like, they're not going to get the picture. You know why? Because you didn't create the picture. This is really, really important to execute this whole thing. Now, we have tested this 6 ways to Sunday. This was put together myself, Bernie Dorman, Mark Victor Hansen, Jack Canfield, Lee Poulos. There was a group of us, pretty sharp operators. I mean, we were rocking in different areas. And we came together. We formed a mastermind, and we designed this. And I'm going to tell you, I could tell you some phenomenal things that has happened because people follow this. Now, you go there. You don't go there. Where do you go? This is where you go. This is where you've got to make a decision to go. You've got to stretch. You've really got to stretch. You've got to get up there where the air is a little thin. This is where your paradigm is going to start screaming at you. Who the hell do you think you are? You're sitting there all by yourself. There's a room full of people, but you're all alone. And the paradigm is talking to you. It does not want you to go there. Believe me, it doesn't. I think everybody could relate to this. You're really shy. And all of a sudden, you find yourself in a whole room full of people that are laughing and having a great time. You don't know anybody. And you've got to go around and introduce yourself to everybody, but you're really shy. Who can relate to what I'm talking about here? That'd be damn difficult, wouldn't it? Oh my God, I don't care what the price is. I don't want to do it. Well, it's your paradigm that would be stopping you, see? It's your paradigm stops you from writing down what you want. It's your paradigm that's going to stop you talking about it. This is what you really want. You don't have to know how to do it. You don't have to know where the money's coming from. You don't have to know where anything's coming from. This was one shy guy standing at the back of the ballroom in the Ohio Harriet. In the O'Hare Hyatt. Ohio Harriet. You know. We've got a Becca works for us, and we have a Mikey works for us, and I'm getting Mikey and Mecca, and man, I'm always getting them screwed up when I'm talking to them. Right? But I was standing at the back of the room at the O'Hare Hyatt when Bill Gove, and that's when I realized if he's doing that, I can do it. I'm going to get him to teach me. And he did, and I did. And today I'm standing here just as comfortable if I was at home petting the dog. I am not remotely concerned what you think of me. All I'm doing is thinking of you. See, most people, when they stand up, wonder what the people think of me. Is my tie straight? You got to get to the point where you don't care what other people think. You got to be very concerned with what you think. Because it's what you think that's really going to make the difference. This is so important. You've got to control the flow. You've got to control it. It's flowing to and through you. It is flowing to and through you. It's energy, it's spirit. You call it what you want. I believe it's spirit. That's flowing to and through. We've got to let it flow freely to and through, improving everything that it connects with. Now understand this. when it flows in, it has no form, none. We give it form. We give it direction. It's the thoughts we're thinking. It's the thoughts that we may be thinking because we hear somebody saying. Most people are controlled objectively. They're not controlled subjectively at all. They are not in control of their subjective mind. It's whatever's going on around them. They're a product of their environment. Now, you've got to know you're a mass of energy. You know you are. You know this. You may not understand it in any great depth. That doesn't matter. You know it. This thing you're living in is nothing but a mass of energy. Energy operates on frequencies. Spirit operates on frequencies. Okay? And we've got to know there is a zillion levels. Now, we know that they're all connected. Every frequency is connected to the one above and the one below. Now, as you really start to grasp this, the more you think about this, through repetition that keeps playing on your mind, you will reach a point where you'll start to understand that everything's connected. Everything's connected. If it's required that you attract someone from China to help you, you will attract someone from China to help you. If it is required that you attract a lot of money into your use, you will attract a lot of money into your use. I think of Cynthia Kersey. Cynthia got an idea that she was going to build schools for kids in Africa. And then she got the idea, I know what I'll do. I'll invite people to my birthday party, but they've got to buy a ticket to come to it. She had to pay to go to her birthday party. And that's how Cynthia started. She attracts millions of dollars today. She needed millions. And she needs more millions, and she is attracting them. Whatever you need, whatever you need. You've got to begin using your higher faculties, though. And I can assure you, you don't use them anywhere near as often as you could or you should. I know I don't. This is something I am consciously and deliberately working at all the time. It's the repetition of this that really makes an enormous difference. Sandy told me something on the way in here in the car. It sort of shook me a little bit. Then I understood the truth of what she was telling me. We were talking about you. And we were talking about if there was only a better way for us to really impress upon your mind the essentials, how essential it is for repetition. And she said, you know, it was when you and I started reading on December 1st. It's somewhere between then and now that it really dawned on me. Now, she said, I understood the importance of it before because I was certainly involved in it, and her results would indicate that she did. So what she was really telling me, we have been reading the same thing since December 1. We have not missed a day. What she was really telling me is that there are levels of awareness and greater levels of awareness. And she says, I just developed an enormous awareness of the necessity. You know, she says, up until I met you, I always thought it was important. Read another book, get another degree. Precedent ruled her world. How it's changed. You've got to use these higher faculties. Now look at, that's where you are. And you know how you got there. You can take a look and you know exactly how you got to where you are. You know. You see, you can look back. These are levels of awareness that we're dealing with here. So you can reflect back on your life. And you can see the twists and turns in the road. We've all had many. Some of us have had really bad experiences. Terrible. You should not regret those. They were necessary to make you who you are, to prepare you to do what you're going to do. You should never want to have changed anything in the past. People ask me if I could go back and do it over with what I know now. I said I'd do exactly the same damn thing. I wouldn't want anything to change. We know how we got here. We're talking about how to get there. And you don't know. And I'm going to tell you, your paradigm is going to want you to kick that out and go back to what you think you can do if this happens and that happens. And you can come up with the greatest rationale of why you should do it that way. It's your paradigm that's controlling you. It's so simple. You see, this is the difficult work. And this is the part that most people they don't want to do it. They don't want to do it. Listen to the lecture. Think about the slide. Rap with each other. Like doing that. Ben's even probably like now standing up and just exposing himself where he didn't want to before. No, he's probably got very comfortable with that aspect of life now. But to sit and take all of your focus, all of your energy, and focus it on one person at your table. Don't let your mind wander. When it wandered, bring it right back. You've got to listen carefully. Is it Gillis? To what Gillis wants. You've got to listen real carefully to that and say, you know something, Gillis? I can't understand what you're telling me. You've got to listen carefully to her. You've got to give her all of your conscious attention. Because she's going to get to a point where she's going to go to every table and say, I want to thank you in advance for the help that you're about to give me. This is what I want. And everybody's going to know exactly what it is. But if any of you back off from helping her, she probably won't explain it very well when she goes to a table. That's the tough work. Because you see, the paradigm says helping Gillis isn't going to do a hell of a lot of good for you. I can see where it helps her, but damn, I haven't got mine figured out yet. I just don't have time. I got to spend time on mine. Why do you think Emerson said the law of cause and effect is the law of laws? Every action will cause an equal and opposite reaction. You cannot help. You cannot put help out without getting it back. You just cannot do it. When you really understand that, that's all you look for, is just look for opportunities to help people. Do you know, I never have to wonder whether I'm going to get the help I need. My God, I've got it coming at me. I got more help coming to me than I know what to do with. But all I spend my time thinking is, how can I help you? I spend very little time thinking of me. Get to know people that know me real well, and they'll tell you that. I really don't. I don't have much time to think of me. I have formed a habit of wanting to help. Now, that is what you're shooting at. And I'm going to tell you something. You will not know how to get there. But the very fact that you can see something, the very fact you can think it, even if it's not too clear, the very fact that you can think it, if you really understand that nothing's created or destroyed, everything is already here, if not in one state, in another, what you've done is move and tuned in on a frequency. It's way beyond where you're at, yet you don't know how to get there. Hold the picture and you will be transported there. I think it's written somewhere, seek ye first this kingdom in its righteousness by law, and all these things will be given to you. When you hold the image, everything you need will come to you because you're on the right frequency. Now look, we've said this. The moment your belief matches with any state, you fuse with it. And this union results in the activation and the projection and the plots and the plans and the conditions. Everything that's necessary starts to happen. It is like magic. And you may never figure it out. See, you could be working on this big idea, and you've run into a real challenge, and you're wondering, I wonder if, is it really going to work? And it's been plaguing you, this challenge, for maybe 10 days or so. And it's sort of got you stalled. And you're in the supermarket, and you're doing shopping, you're getting the groceries, and you're ready to push your cart through where you check personal charge you for it and everything. And a kid, wham, whacks into your cart with their cart. And you're like, and as you look, the headline on a rag tabloid that's near the cash register triggers something in your mind, and you solve the problem. You might just walk away from the groceries and the cart and everything going, work on it. Now, when the goal's been reached, how are you ever going to connect that kid bumping into you to the headline on that rag newspaper? There's all kinds of serendipitous things happen that you're not even aware of. But understand this whole universe is moving in an orderly direction. Now, when you get that picture, when you've got this new state of consciousness, understand that becomes your home. That's your new home. And that's where you view the world from. It's your workshop. That's where you're living. And if you're observant, you're going to see outer reality shaping itself upon the model of your imagination. Now, as I'm saying that, I just thought of my own situation and the world that I've created for me, and how different it is. And if this were not true, how I would never be here. Never. If I was alive, my circumstances would be so completely different.